Hi Capricorn, here is a general look at your solar chart for December 2015 and January 2016. But before I go there, I'd like to just share an astro thought or two with you. Now that last month I was mentioning the Saturn-Neptune transit, how it's affecting us over November, December, and also popping up again at times in 2016. I also mentioned the Uranus-Pluto transit, and I just want to say something else about that now. These two, of course, are behind the general change, meltdown in some cases, huge radical change going on across the globe, culturally, economically, socially, to do with belief systems as well, especially now that Saturn has come into Sagittarius. I'll be saying more about that in the stars for 2016, which are coming out very shortly now. I just want to mention in the first half of December we have Mars in challenging aspect to Uranus-Pluto. Mars can be a little bit of a trigger for these two, and tensions that are pushed down beneath the surface inherent in the Uranus-Pluto aspect will emerge, will get pushed up, like tectonic plates kind of buckling and crunching against each other, and then explosions of sort of like, the tension or the volcanic eruptions, and of course it's for a fleeting time. It's just over the first half of December. Every time Mars comes around into a cardinal sign, the same thing's going to happen. Has done in 2015, will do in 2016, and of course in 2014 and 2017, because the Uranus-Pluto transit, even though it's no longer exact, is going to rumble on for a few more years, and we will see the effects globally of this. And those of us who have been on the planet a long time can really see the distinct and marked changes going on, and just how things are run, and not only that, but how the general tone of the way humans are one with one another, coming more from the mental side, the intellectual side, and far less from the heart side, because of course through the internet and through texting and blogging, and we are using our left brain a huge amount more than just meeting people down the pub. So anyway, that's a whole other subject. I just want to mention Mars coming onto here, triggering these two, might be minor in your life, but I'm just looking at the global sort of situation here. The tension build up could, is always looking like a pressure cooker for a way of release. So this could bring out the harsher side, the manipulative, controlling, unscrupulous side, particularly when Mars and Pluto get together. There's usually sort of underhand dealings going on. Or if it doesn't feel like that, then it can just feel like that one has got one's arm twisted up behind one's back because of some kind of emotional blackmail. Now, of course, we can bring these things on ourselves as well, feeling conscientious and obliged, etc. But just want you to be aware of that. So going back to the worldwide sort of influence of this, you can get an idea, by the way, of where these are in your natal chart, if you have it, by seeing which house they are in and then looking it up online. There's a plethora of information now online for everything to do with astrology, so just find it online. I'm going to tell you where they are in your sun sign forecast a little bit in a few minutes. So the global effects will involve, again, the banks, the governments, the financial property markets, the establishment, the status quo, and of course there's many in these sorts of positions that don't want the power base to shift, and they are in the habit of steamrollering over our universal freedoms. And of course the internet's going to come up as well, in this sort of way, as well as maybe radio and TV, because of Saturn being in the communication sign as Sagittarius. But So one side will tend to feel sort of outraged and victimized, and the other will seem, that they will not have a conscience. They will see it as their inalienable right to do these things, and will seem quite ruthless and only concerned with maintaining the control that they are used to, because they're trying to balance the books, or they just see it as they know better. And then on the flip side, energy levels can be very, very high with Mars, Pluto, I have to say. So in your personal life, if you do have a mountain to climb, if you have a fight on your hands, then under this transit, much can be achieved, and you will possibly win as well, because even though Mars is in a contentious sort of angle with Pluto, it's a sort of energy that you need, which is very stubborn, and it's energy that will dig its heels in and help you. It depends on where Mars Pluto, of course, is in your chart. So for some people this will be minor, for others, and then you'll notice people around you that you know are getting it more strongly because of the degrees. It's always to do with the degrees of these things on a planet or on an important point in the chart. But you'll probably win, and but you won't be able to do that without modifying something along the way, without maybe letting go of something and compromising along the way. And you'll have to be canny and intuitive, listen to that gut knowing, as the powers that be, or the controlling faction, whether that's, bosses, teachers, parents, or something even bigger than that, circumstances beyond your control, can feel like it's beyond your ability to do anything about. But this is a great aspect for getting to the bottom of things, digging out the rot, and doing that in whatever way necessary, and then to regenerate, starting with whatever is left to build upon, whether that's in your private life or in across the globe in a bigger sort of a way. And instead of coming from ego, a fear-based mentality, and this is a big ask, because we are in a time of opportunity to shift into a much more expanded, advanced level of consciousness, and this is our invitation. This, we're still in this in this turning point time, and before the whole thing shuts down, if we can't sort of step up to the plate in some way and do things in a more compassionate, refined, elegant sort of way, instead of just shouting and screaming and shooting at each other, then we're going to end up right back where we were before, and then we have got to wait another few thousand years for the other opportunity, the next opportunity to come round again, and that is related to the galactic center. So just thought I'd mention that. And now for the rest of the forecast for December and January 2016 until the 22nd. The solar energies are very much tucked away behind the scenes. So this is both the Sun and Mercury in the area of preparation behind the scenes, or doing things backstage, or being more of a support, being less self-centered or ego-driven, because if you operate that way, you're likely to feel disappointed. This is the time for you to maybe be looking back to the past and realizing certain things that went on then, or zoning out every now and again, feeling quite uncertain about the outcome of something. Is likely, not getting the information you need to really nail it down, to sort of pin it down, things going on just out of sight, being a little bit preoccupied, and intuition working well. For the artists among you, it's good, this energy, because your inner world is just that little bit more vivid. It's a good time for healing type work, spiritual work, imaginative activities of all kinds, and listening to your inner guidance, holding on to that vision of how you prefer it to be, and then moving beyond what's getting in your way at the moment. Then Mercury comes out of there on the 10th and goes into your sign, which is a very different kettle of fish. Mercury putting you very much out there, left brain, more in the present moment, you getting the information that was being held away maybe, or some more of it starting to pipe through, and you getting more of the picture that you wanted, a time for you to put yourself out there a bit more, reach out, maybe because you have to, but still the sun is in the background area, pulling you more to be a little bit more introspective, self-reflective, pulling you towards those sorts of situations where you can facilitate others and be the sort of hidden support in a way for others. There could be, however, more paperwork when Mercury comes into your sign, or just more of an urge to speak up, because you've got more of the facts now in your mind, so that you will be able to have something definite to say, but feeling a bit scattered sometimes. Venus is at the top of your chart until the 5th, has been there for a lot of November, oiling the wheels with authority figures, bosses and the like, making you feel as though somebody's sharing the load with you, pulling in the same direction as someone else. Maybe it is quite noticeable to you how somebody is not agreeing or putting their weight behind what was agreed before. So there could be a little bit of compromise there, but possibly not a really strong, it will be, because Mars is also there. So the compromise, the conflict, there could be a bit of conflict, but then some compromise, if you have your head screwed on and realize that in order to make headway with the master plan, there has to be some compromise, and then you move forwards towards those aims and ambitions. Or it might not be like that. It might be that you are feeling a little bit blocked with your responsibilities in life, or pressures on you. On the other hand, you will have the energy with Mars in that area there to put physical effort, and decisiveness and physical effort, and some of your stamina, some of your physical energy into achieving certain goals and ambitions, whatever they happen to be, reaching certain standards, and maybe being more aware of bureaucracy or certain conventions in society, to help you to get to where you want to go, or that you have to overcome in order to get to where you want to go, and because you feel frustrated with the powers that be. So it can work, but if you just keep cool, calm and collected, you will make progress with the master plan, or maybe with little schemes and plots as well. And then Venus moves from the 5th, even though Mars is still in that area at the top of your chart. Venus moves out of there into a very progressive area, meaning that you can feel that something you've waited to get on with, now you can more. Still, the sun is in the background area, so it's not going to be, it will still be a little bit, not covert. Well, it can be within a special sort of bubble, a little within the castle walls, of others, a select sort of group maybe, or in a place where others join together in maybe skilled ways, or in ways where they're working for the common good, or for something spiritual or artistic, and you're connecting with them in that sort of way. But this is the area I call the chrysalis. So for you, with the sun in there, it is something that is developing, evolving, growing behind the scenes. But Mars helps you to get to where you want to go, and the Venus energy is helping you to progress, and networking, group gatherings, team efforts, they're all well starred, because Venus is sociable and helpful, and just likes meeting and greeting and kind of sharing with others, really. So she's in a very sociable area for you for the rest of the month from the 5th. And then the sun moves on the 22nd into your sign. And that's a powerful time for you that month, because out of the whole of the zodiac, the sun is finally in the place it was when you came into this earthly incarnation, and I know that for a fact. There's not a lot I know for a fact, but I do know that. And it's good for time for taking stock and reviewing the dance of life over the previous year, being a little bit more self-indulgent, the sun coming out of that very background area where you're more introspective and you're holding things within, you're feeling more sensitive, comes out of there, and then you're more gregarious, you're more reaching out and giving time and energy to aims and ambitions close to your heart, hopefully. And hopefully goodies coming in your direction as well. And then that takes us into January 2016. And the sun will be there until the 21st of January. And also Mercury, at the kickoff of 2016, Mercury is going to be in your second house. So that is about your material security. That's about the piggy bank, property matters, possessions, stuff in general, assets, resources of various kinds that you'd like to get your hands on, or maybe you're just having a huge reorganizing, or maybe conversations, correspondence, discussions are centered around these material concerns. Maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's more to do the physical side of life, because this is also about well-being, health and fitness as well. As for the outer moving planets, they are all in the same places over December and January. So starting, apart from the degrees which shift slightly, mostly with Saturn. So starting with Saturn, the ruling planet, she is in the sign before yours, Sagittarius, and will be there until late 2017. And this is the time for you to tidy up the past, for you to sort things out with, materially, but also with yourself, sort of filing things, or like, settling the account, as it were, maybe facing up to behaviors, the consequences of previous setups or decisions, or whatever it is. And just figuring it out, come to some sort of amicable agreement with yourself, or maybe with a certain other, even whether they're still in life or not, you still can have that conversation and settle up with them in whichever way you need to, I find, anyway. Just in readiness, really, for when Saturn finally comes back into your sign after 29 years. So, unless you're very, very young, of course. You Capricorns born the 27th of December to the 3rd of January, or with 6 to 12 degrees rising, or those of you born the 5th to the 6th of January, with 11 to 15 degrees rising, going to feel the energy the most, although the whole sign will be feeling that. And then Jupiter will be working happily and strongly and powerfully out of his own house in your solar chart, the 9th, and you'll have the opportunity to push the envelope, and you'll be on a bit of a growth spurt. Sounds a bit strange when I say it like that. Anyway, you'll be on a learning curve, let's put it that way. And so good time for training, good time for learning a new subject, travel, getting to know, an unfamiliar culture or belief system. It's a good time for education, higher education particularly, especially on the philosophical, spiritual side of things, and the legal side of things as well. But also your knowledge and your experience, and putting that out onto a wider stage, perhaps for some of you broadcasting, publishing, politics, the law. All of this is an area where you can learn through doing and expand and grow. And Capricorns born the 10th to the 15th of January, with 20 to 24 degrees rising over December and January 2016, you're going to feel that energy the most. And then Uranus, you Capricorns born the 5th to the 7th of January, with 15 to 17 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most in December. And then it shifts slightly. Those of you born the 6th to the 10th of January, or with 15 to 19 degrees rising, going to feel the energy the most in January. The first one was for December, of course. And then and you will see on the stars for 2016 just what Uranus is likely to be about in your sun sign chart over the year. And also ditto for Pluto. I'll get that written up and speak that onto the video when I do those, which is going to be any time now. And you Capricorns born the 3rd to the 7th of January with 13 to 16 degrees rising will feel the energy of Pluto the most in December. Or those of you born the 5th to the 8th or with 14 to 17 degrees rising are going to feel that energy the most in January 2016. And that's it for 2015. And I hope you have a lovely, fun, warm, friendly time over the festive season. And also, if you want to check out any of this stuff, you can see it on my website, DianaGarland.com. The stars are coming up for 2016 very, very soon now. And listen to your moon sign or your rising sign if you want some more information, if you haven't had enough already. And that's it, really. I will see you the next time.